Hello everyone, hello and welcome to the stream. If you're new here, come and say hi, and if you're shy, then keep watching. So this is today's to-do list. If you're here early, yeah, you feel to read. This stream will be on Claude Code, and we'll be using Claude Code on an existing project, which is one of my products that is currently live and making money. So this is not like a toy project, this is the actual product written in TypeScript and Vue.js as a Electron app. Yeah, so welcome in, and if you are new here, come and say hi. This is a unscripted real-world coding session using Claude Code. So there's no scripting, everything is happening in real time, and we are working on a real-life product that is making money, and people are buying this. So it's not a toy project, it's not a demo. Yeah, and show you guys this. There's people buying this. I probably shouldn't have showed their emails, but anyway. Yeah, so if without further ado, let's get started. So this is the 16x AI coding stream, and today we'll be going back to Claude Code. We'll be using Claude Code on an existing project called 16x Eval. This is my product that I'm building and selling. It's mostly it's an Electron app written in TypeScript and Vue.js, and it's about 22k lines of code. So today we'll be adding some features to this app using Claude Code. Yeah, that's the basic idea of the stream. So let me get to the Claude Code setup and show you guys how I set up Claude Code for this project. So I have the Electron app running here, and if we use the CC usage, we can see that I've spent $104 in this month. I'm on the $20 plan. For some reason, Claude Code will show that it's the max plan, but I'm actually on the $20 plan, not the max plan. There's some bug with this. And in terms of the model, I'm using the Sonnet, not Opus. And yeah, in terms of, let me just show you guys the context. I don't think I have any MCP, any weird stuff going on. I only have a Claude.md file and the built-in tools. I guess the MCP tools here are from Cursor. So I'm running Claude Code inside Cursor, as you can see. So I have some diagnostics and execute code tools. Apart from that, everything else is free. Only using 18k out of 200k tokens. And in terms of the Claude Code, Claude.md file, it's just I think this is just the default file that was generated using Claude Code. I have some commands, architecture here, and then I have some specific Vue.js development guide. I think I wrote some of these on how to use the composition API UI, because I think Claude Code is not very familiar with Vue.js, so I have to write some patterns here on how to do certain things. I think this does help the model quite a bit. Yeah, you can see it's actually quite comprehensive. 200 lines of Claude.md file. And I have some task planning file here. So if I'm working on a big feature, I think this one is kind of medium-sized feature. But if I'm working on a big feature, I will definitely write down my planning inside the task.md file so that I can kind of write longer prompts without getting constrained by this terminal UI. And so that's how I like to write my prompts as like a markdown file. So basically that's the setup for Claude Code. All right. Let's move on to talk about the project itself. So like I said, 16x Eval is an Electron app that just does the eval things. Okay, I have a question here. How do I code a linked list? Depends on the language. Each language is different, I guess. Just have to Google like a linked list. I think there's like a tons of Geek for Geeks links. You can just look at those. I think those Geek for Geeks links are pretty good. So yeah, this you can check it out. Anyway, 16x Eval is the product that we'll be working on. So this is a product I built myself that you can use to evaluate different models. So you can see the models, the prompt, and various metrics, and then you can create new evaluations here by selecting a prompt, context, tools, temperature, etc., and models. So that's basically what it does. It has a lot of more features, but that's the main feature, is to create evaluations, create different experiments, and then test out different prompts and models. Yeah, so that's the introduction of the app itself. So we can move on to, I'm updating the stream plan here. So let's plan out this feature for the support reasoning, right? So for those of you who are new to models and don't understand, so basically newer models have this reasoning parameters. I'm specifically talking about GPT-5 here. So if we look at the OpenAI models documentation, you can see here there's some reasoning related things. Yeah, so basically GPT-5 you can support a reasoning effort. So by default it's medium. You can pass in low, medium, high for this parameter. Yeah, so that's the reasoning effort. And inside my app here, you can see if I go to a evaluation with GPT-5, I don't have this parameter for reasoning effort. I only have temperature. So yeah, so that's what we're adding today. So we want to support reasoning effort in addition to temperature as a parameter. And to do that, actually we need to talk about how this app works. So this app is basically like a UI, and then the logic that interacts with all these models, I actually have a dedicated library to do that. Sorry, it's not called LLM info, this is wrong. Everything is unscripted, so I made an error here. It's not this library, it's actually the stand prompt library. LLM info is just the information. So stand prompt library is the library that I built to send prompts, right? So basically it's like an AI SDK, but I built it myself to send prompts to various providers. You can see here it's quite long. It's like 1,400 lines. So actually this is quite a mess. So you can see there's a lot of if else and handling of different providers. So we need to handle like Anthropic, we need to handle Google, we need to handle OpenAI, and all these providers have like differences, so you need to handle them. That's why I have a dedicated library just to handle the different providers, and in order to support reasoning, I will need to modify this library here. I think I already have this library. Yeah, so I need to modify this library here to support reasoning, reasoning parameter. I already support reasoning token extraction, but I haven't support the reasoning effort. You can see here there's a ton of tests to make sure everything works. So this is a very robust library. Right. Yeah, so that's about this library. Now we need to plan this feature, right? So for this feature to work, we need to do two things. One is to update the library to support reasoning effort, and then once we update the library, we can update the app itself to use the library and then support the reasoning effort when we create the evaluation. So somewhere in the, I guess in the advanced settings, we can provide the reasoning effort here as a selection thing. So that's, I guess, the plan for today. I think this shouldn't take more than 1 hour, but I'm not sure how long it will take. If we have more time, we can do other UI UX improvement, but that's the main plan, is to support reasoning efforts so that I can test the GPT-5 high reasoning effort, right? Default is medium, so I couldn't test the high effort. By adding this, I can do that. So let me go ahead and update this send prompt library. Yeah. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take a look at the code. I haven't looked at this code base in a while, so let me just take a look. So we have the gigantic file here, that is the main file that takes care of a lot of things. If I collapse, then we can see here we have Google message function calling, transform message for OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. And we have some prompt options, header options, first-party provider options, open router provider options, a lot of different options for different providers. And then we have the transform message. I guess the main bulk of the logic is actually inside this send prompt. So for each provider, we use a little bit of different parameters. So I guess in this case, we have to modify here. We have tools, and then we have temperature here. I guess temperature will be the most similar feature to the reasoning parameter. So yeah, so that's where the code will likely end up in. And then we also need to consider how we pass in this parameter. So if we look at the send prompt prompt option, we have prompt option and provider options. So I think this would actually go into the provider option because this is provider specific. So it wouldn't go inside the prompt option. Yeah, it would make more sense as a provider option rather than a prompt option. So we're gonna add it to the first party provider option. Yeah, I think so. I mean, we can always change it back to prompt options if that's where it's supposed to be. But I'm inclined to put it inside the provider options. Alright, so let's fire up Claude Code. So I have a shortcut for Claude Code, which is CC, which basically does the skip permission. So you run Claude dangerously skip permission so that I don't have to accept every time. So I'm gonna open up CC and then just let it implement reasoning effort, right? So for this task, because I have the documentation here, so I'm just gonna copy this and then like just create some doc here. I think I have a reference here, so I just gonna create a new doc called OpenAI reasoning effort.md. Just gonna paste this snippet here. This is JavaScript, and then I'm gonna copy some. I think I can copy this entire page, but I don't think it's necessary here. So let's just copy some of this. Put it here. Okay, so I think this should be enough for the model to understand how to do it. So let me just write the prompt here. I'm gonna write the prompt in my notes so that I can edit it easier than inside terminal. So to support reasoning effort, we're gonna write our prompt, which is oh, I didn't enable my whisper flow. Okay, so I'm gonna do some typing here for the prompt. Add support for reasoning effort for OpenAI models specifically. Make it a provider option. Make it a first party provider option. Okay. Ignore this option when sending to other providers. Refer to the document for how to implement it. Okay, I think this is a good prompt. So I'm just gonna paste it inside Claude Code and then change this doc to refer to my reference. Oh, I think because this is git ignored, so it doesn't work. This is one of these annoying things. So I'm just gonna copy the relative path and then just paste it here. Yeah, I think this should be good enough as a prompt. So let's give it a try. You can see here for this, I think I didn't create MD files because this is quite simple. So I'm just gonna write my prompt and then copy paste here. It shouldn't be very hard for Claude Code to do, even though this file is quite big. I think to add this feature specifically for OpenAI should be manageable. Let me see. There's a lot of if-else if-else switch cases here, so need to be a bit more careful to not touch other things, only OpenAI. Okay, so we have some reasoning efforts being added here, and looks like it's correct. So this one is create params. Okay. Yeah, so this is inside the switch OpenAI, so that's correct. So it's only working for OpenAI models. We don't want to touch other providers. Alright, so it's running the test, which is a good sign. Yeah, it should run the test. Actually, I should ask it to add a new test. Yeah, okay, so it's quite smart, right? It's already adding a test on its own without me telling it. That's pretty nice. I don't know if it's gonna be a good test or a bad test, but at least it's adding a test without me telling it to do. So now we have one more test in our test suite. So we have the medium and then different efforts. Okay, interesting. So I think this looks good. It's just that the model shouldn't be GPT 4.1. Oh, okay, so it actually understands this as well. I was going to tell it to change, but then looks like it already run the test and figure out GPT 4.1 is not the correct model. Yeah, that's interesting. So wait, what did it change? Oh, gracefully fell. Okay, interesting. I don't think that's the correct way to test. You should test both the success case and the failure case. Now it's just testing the failure case, right? It's like trying to get over the fact that it cannot test it correctly. I guess it's because I haven't updated my model to include GPT-5. Could be the reason why. Yeah, this doesn't have GPT-5. So I'm using an older version of LLM info which doesn't have GPT-5. That could be the reason why the model is unable to test. I'm just gonna update and then ask it to try again. Actually, the test should include both GPT-5 and GPT 4.1. It should work with GPT-5 but fail with GPT 4.1. I have installed the new version of LLM info, which should have the model GPT-5. I'm doing good, thanks. Yeah, I just realized Claude Code is so much smarter than me, so getting humbled by Claude Code. It's like 2 steps ahead of me. When I thought about something, I realized it's already like thought about it and then proceeded to the next step. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They still haven't got rid of the SQL fancy stuff, but it's fine. It's clouding. Wow, I don't think I've seen that. Just clouding. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So let's see the new test. So this is GPT-5 and then fail for GPT-4. Okay, so we have 2 models. One should work and one should not work. Yeah. Anthropic. Yeah. Okay, so let me just open up the OpenAI platform and check if we actually got the API request, right? I think we can monitor the API requests on the OpenAI platform. Okay, I need to get some code, so let me just do this. Okay. I'm inside. Let me check my dashboard for the logs. Okay, so we got some logs with GPT-5. Let me see if it says the reasoning effort. There's no reasoning effort here, so that's a bit unfortunate. So we can't see whether there's a reasoning effort. Yeah, we can't see, unfortunately, but at least it's hitting the right API endpoint. Alright, okay. Just to be extra safe, let's run this test ourselves because I sometimes don't trust Sonnet. Sometimes it can say that it ran the test, but the test actually failed. So let's just run this test ourselves. Oh, there's too many tests with reasoning, so let's just run the reasoning effort one and see what's the actual output. So we have the GPT-5 reasoning effort response. What's this? So this is the medium one. Correctly rejected low and high. Completion tokens. Low and high, okay. Interesting. Seems reasonable. Seems reasonable, okay. I think there's also a minimum, right? Low, medium, high, okay. There's no minimal. Okay, I remember Open Router supports minimal. Is there a minimal here? There's no minimal here, okay. I guess OpenAI doesn't support minimal. Just low, high, and medium. Alright, so this is kind of working, so let's do some code review here. We have the test, we have the actual change, only 2 lines. Yeah, only 2 lines, but it's complicated inside a very large file. And then we have some updates, okay. Looks like it should work, so let's say support reasoning effort, OpenAI. Let's do a commit. Just to be on the safer side, let's run the test to test all the test cases. I think some of them will fail because of some model deprecation or API key issues, but most of them should pass. Running this test is actually quite expensive because I need to send API requests to all the providers. I think it costs like 10 cents or something to run all these tests. I'm running to Fireworks, Google, Open Router, XAI, everything. Yeah, some tests already fail, but it's to be expected. I'm sending a lot of requests to all the providers. Fireworks still working, that's nice to see. So apparently Azure OpenAI, oh yeah, I deleted my Azure OpenAI instance, so it's supposed to fail, so yeah. I think some Qwen 3 model probably get deprecated, that's why it failed. Okay, doesn't really matter, so everything else works. Let's publish this new package. Because we added new parameter, which is kind of a little bit breaking, so I'm gonna increment this to 2.8.0. I don't think anybody else is actually using this library, like except for myself. But let me double check. Yeah, looks like not many people are using this library, so yeah, should be safe to just publish. Oh, YouTube is not responding. Okay, looks like we have some YouTube errors. What is happening? Okay, looks like my stream is lagging a little bit. Wonder if my computer is gonna crash soon again. Let me see my memory and CPU. Looks fine. I don't know what happened, but OBS is saying YouTube is getting some connection issues. Anyway, so this is the change to SAM prompt, and in order to tell, so after this change, the SAM prompt library already support reasoning effort. So now we need to inform our app that the new SAM prompt library have this feature, right? So how do we do that? So this is a trick that I found myself on how to communicate between different libraries. So what you want to do is basically get Claude Code to update the README file, and then you sync this README file to the library, to the app that you're working on. So let me show you how this works, right? So actions speak louder than words. So let me show you how it works. Update README to document the new reasoning effort parameter. Yeah, so I'm just gonna ask it to document the README, and then separately to that, if I have go to user local bin. Wait, it's not user local bin, something else. Yeah, this one. So if we open this file, I actually have a script to to copy the README file into my different products, so that they get automatically updated, right? When this README, not automatic, but like they all get updated with the new library README file, so that I can use the new README, right? So this is a script that I wrote with Claude Code to update all the projects to get the latest README file from my library. You know Coder? Yeah, I think I heard of it, but I haven't used that. It's like too many tools. Too many tools nowadays. Okay, so it looks like we already updated this provider options. Reasoning effort. Okay, so now we have the reasoning effort. Yeah. So now we have the updated README. Let me turn down a little bit. And then I'm just gonna run this copy README file. So now this new README should be copied over to my app. So now if we do a git status, we can see that, you know, all the README file has been updated with the new reasoning effort. So this is how I sync my libraries to my products, so that they get the latest documentation on how to use them. So just update reference. So now I can tell my tell Claude Code that, you know, just refer to this file, and then implement this feature using the reasoning effort, right? So then it becomes easier. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do anyway. So let's move this here. So now we're gonna implement the reasoning effort inside the app itself. What we're gonna do is again write the prompt. So we're gonna write a prompt for the 16x eval. Add support for reasoning effort. Add the note that this only works for OpenAI models. When creating a new evaluation. Similar to how the temperature parameter works. SAM prompt library has already been updated to support reasoning effort parameter. Yeah, I think this should work. So just gonna point it to, I think this file is okay, so let's just point it to this file and then paste this prompt. I think this is gonna take a while, but I trust that Claude Code can just implement the whole thing from end to end with this one prompt, using the to do or whatever feature it has. So let's try it out. Oh wait, I just realized I made a mistake. I haven't updated my library. The library doesn't support it yet. I need to update the library. Sometimes I'll forget about this, and then later the model will complain that it doesn't work. So let me just fix this. Install the new library. I still use npm instead of local linking because it just feels like a bit cleaner to do this. I think I can use the resume feature to resume the thing, and then double tap to go back, and then rerun this prompt again. Yeah, so these are all tips and tricks on how to use it. You can resume a conversation, and you can double tap escape to go back, and then rerun the thing. Oh wait, I think it didn't work this time. Let's see what happened. Okay, so looks like let me just run cc -c. This should continue, and then I should be able to go backwards. Oh, okay. There's some bug here. Doesn't matter. I think I should still get it to work. Yeah, so the Claude Code is now trying to understand the code base and then coming up with a plan. So typically, I think that's how it works. So I've done this many times, in fact. So I trust that Claude Code can handle this kind of tasks. Yeah, so it's kind of going with the simplest implementation by just doing everything inside the model itself, I guess, which is okay. Yeah, this shouldn't be very hard. For more complex tasks, I will probably be writing a markdown file and then pointing it to the relevant files. But for this case, because it's relatively simple, so I didn't do that. Guess the tricky part is how to pass it to the sendPrompt function. Okay, we can also monitor the CC usage. Live. Wait, it's not live? I thought there's a live feature. Where is the live feature? I think it's session. Maybe it's session, not live. Oh no, it's not session. Oh, okay. Weird. Maybe they removed it. Blocks. Oh, okay. Blocks and live. Okay. So we've spent 30k token. Oh, sorry, only 4.6 token. That's the projection. Yeah. All right. Okay, so it says that it's created, done all the changes. Let me verify. I don't believe that's all it takes, but maybe I'm overestimating it. We have the reasoning effort here. How is this passed to the? We have the prompt options here. Then prompt option. Okay. Wait, I thought this should be inside provider options. I think it made a mistake, right? It shouldn't be prompt option, it should be provider option. Let me double check. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Yeah, unfortunately Claude Code didn't handle this. I need to pass it in as a provider option, not prompt option. Yeah, maybe I should have put it as prompt option instead of provider option. That would save a lot of effort. I think provider option is the right way because it's like the reasoning effort is more tied to the provider rather than the prompt. So the reasoning effort is actually a provider option, not a prompt option. Read the docs. Unfortunately, it didn't solve this the first time, I think. So it's trying to revert some changes. Yeah, I think this is kind of a little bit confusing for the model because it's like a lot of layers and layers and stuff. So it's passing in the same prompt option and then put it inside the provider option, which is the correct way to do it. And it's only doing that when the provider is OpenAI, which is correct. So this looks more correct. Maybe we should specify this to be like OpenAI specific. But I think other models also have this. So let me double check the OpenRouter docs to see if we need to handle it differently for OpenRouter. Reasoning effort. Oh, it's just it's just effort. Okay, so it's a different syntax. Yeah, it's different syntax. Okay, similar. I think we can reuse this definitely. No need to make it OpenAI specific. Wow. Okay. Anyway, I think it says that it's working. So let's see. Let's just check, right? So we have the reasoning effort here from the eval data processing, and then here we have the default, which is undefined, which is correct. And then we have the same prompt here, provider options. Okay. How do we know that it's actually working? So the first way we can do is to just add some logs here, right? I guess that's the simplest way. So we can just console log the provider option here to double check if it's actually working, and then we can do some testing with some tricky prompts to see if it can handle different reasoning parameters, which should give us a different output. So basically the Claude Code told us that this is already solved, so let's try out let me find the task that GPT-5 did badly on. Okay, so let me try to find the model. Okay, my computer is lagging a little bit. That's not a very good sign. Okay, so it did quite poorly on the TypeScript narrowing task. So let's try it out. So you can see previously it used about 1000 reasoning tokens. So this column is the number of reasoning tokens. And before we made this change, it's defaulting to medium reasoning effort and it's using about 1000 tokens. So let's say if we switch to high, I would expect the token, the number of reasoning tokens to increase, right? So we can test this. So we have the advanced option and then we have the reasoning effort toggle here. Only works on OpenAI models, nice. So let's change this to high and then send the same prompt to OpenAI GPT-5 and see if we get a better response. Oh yeah, we also need to show the reasoning effort as a column, right? So I think that's something that this Claude Code missed. I don't think it changed that, so that's probably gonna be a separate task, right? So add reasoning effort as a new column, input column in evaluation page. I think yeah, that's gonna be a separate task to show it as a metric. Okay, so this is taking some time, which is expected. Hopefully this works. Unfortunately, the OpenAI logs doesn't show us the exact parameters being sent. Otherwise, we could just look at the logs from here. Oh yeah, these are from the tests. Okay. Let me see my my logging. Oh, I don't see the logs. Okay, maybe the logs are on this side. Okay, there's the API key here, so I probably need to invalidate that soon, unfortunately. So so it did send reasoning effort high, right? Okay. Okay, and then we can see the requests here. It didn't even say the number of reasoning tokens, right? So it just says the output token is 4371, which should show up here as well. Let me enable the output tokens. Yeah, so 4371 response tokens and 4096 reasoning tokens. So it's substantially higher than the previous reasoning medium, right? So it's a good chance that it works. Now let's try the low one. If we use the low, then I think it's gonna be less, right? So let's try that. I think it should work. It's definitely working, I think. And it also should take much less time because it's low, right? Yeah, so as expected, it's much shorter. Yeah, so definitely works, I think. So this actually works. Okay, so let's make some UI UX adjustments. I don't like that it says default because basically we're not sending this parameter, right? So we should make it clear that we're not sending this parameter instead of just saying it's a default. And I think it should use the selection button instead of the drop down, right? So let's make some UI UX changes. Make it how do I phrase this? Make it a row of selection buttons instead of a drop down. and be more explicit that the default option is not sending the parameter, not sending the reasoning alpha parameter. Instead of sending a default value. Yeah, because we are doing evaluations here, so we have to be explicit on whether we are sending the parameter as default, sending it as empty, or not sending it, because it can make a difference, right? So let's paste this prompt here. And I can close this. Yeah, so basically it works now. They're just gonna make some UI UX changes. Oh, okay. Now it's a good time to track the context, right? See how much context we used. Okay, so we can't track the context while it's working apparently. So let's just wait for it to finish. Yeah, I'm trying out the new context method, which is pretty nice to have. Let's run this again. We can see that we only use 32%, right? So we still have a lot more context to go. That's nice to know. We can get rid of this provider option. And then now if we go back to this, yeah, so now we have the reasoning effort. Nice, not set uses the model default, no parameter set, only works for OpenAI. Yes. Controls reasoning thoroughness. That's weird. It should be reasoning effort, right? So we have not set low, medium, and high. Okay, that's pretty nice. Let's try the low again just to make sure that it works. So let's try the low. We should get back the response very quickly. And just double checking that everything works. And let me just add back the provider option to just see what was sent. I think I should probably add some testing notes here so that I can differentiate which one has been tested and which one is the new one. Okay. So I think it definitely still works. Let me just update the wording a little bit. I don't like that it says reasoning thoroughness. It just say reasoning effort, right? I think that's self-explanatory. Okay, so now we have the reasoning effort. Let's try the not set. Yeah, so not set should be empty, right? Let's see what parameter got sent. Fortunately, I showing my API key again. I think I should be able to invalidate it, so should be fine. Reasoning effort undefined, so that's good. And we get 1600 tokens. Okay, looks correct. Lower than the high one. And yeah, so it definitely works. So let's commit this change because this already works. So we have support OpenAI reasoning effort parameter. Okay, and we have to do some other UI changes to make this work. Basically, now we don't have a column to show the reasoning effort as the input column, so we should add that. Let me just write the prompt to do that. Okay, we already have the prompt here, so let's just paste this inside Claude Code. Add reasoning effort as a new column in evaluation page, right? Because we're working on evaluation page, it's better to just point the model to the page itself so that it doesn't need to spend time trying to find it, right? It's just like save a bit of time because it's easier for me to find it than let model do a bunch of tool calls to find it. Yeah. Alright, so I already point the model to this file, and then because it still has the previous context, oh no it doesn't, so let's do a continue so that it has the previous context on this feature. It understands what's the reasoning parameter, and then it will be able to edit here more effectively. So it's like about how you control the context. Sometimes the context is useful, sometimes it's not. So for this case, the previous task context is still useful, so I'm just gonna keep it. Yeah, so you can see here, it's just reading this file instead of trying to find where this page is. It saves quite a bit of time, but sometimes it's very hard to find it. Yeah, okay. So it's found all the correct files to add this new reasoning effort parameter. Okay, it's using the not set. I guess it's okay. I would prefer to use a bracket not set, but let's see. Okay, so it remember to add the CSS. This is actually something that the model keeps forgetting, so I actually had to put it inside the CLAUDE.md to remind it to update when adding or updating column. So it looks like this works. So yeah, if the model keeps forgetting something, just put it inside the CLAUDE.md file so that it will remember to do it next time. Alright, so it says that it's done, so let's check it out. So now we should have a reasoning effort here, and if we enable it, we can see it's there's a little bit of overlap. Let me turn off some columns. Oh, it's still overlapping. Yeah, so the minimum width is not enough, right? So let's just change the minimum width to be slightly larger. Reasoning, okay, so now we have the low, high, and low. Okay, that's pretty nice. It's actually supposed to be reasoning effort, so yeah. So now we have two columns called reasoning. That's not good. Now we have two columns called reasoning. Change this column to be called reasoning effort, but use some kind of abbreviation to save space. Yeah, okay, so let's do that, and hopefully can come up with a good name. Effort, okay, sounds good enough. Yeah, because there's already a brain icon, so should be good enough. Yeah, okay, looks nice. Now we can revert this change back to 80 pixel. Nice. So now we can see clearly that the high reasoning effort leads to higher reasoning tokens, and the low reasoning effort leads to lower reasoning tokens, which is exactly what you would expect. And if we set it to medium, we should get somewhere in between those two numbers. Let's see. Okay, so we have the medium here. 1500. 1.5k, so that's higher than the low and lower than the high, so that's correct. Yeah, so this feature definitely works. Add reasoning effort column, and I think the last thing to check is that it actually saved this information into the memory, right? Let me just do a double check that they actually save it into the file. I'm gonna export this experiment and then just gonna open it to make sure that it's actually saved. So if I search for reasoning effort, I should see high, low, and medium. Nice. So it's actually saved. Nice. So yeah, looks like everything works. We have the reasoning effort supported as an advanced feature similar to temperature, and everything works. And it's just nice that we hit 1 hour mark, so exactly 1 hour. So today's AI coding session is a success. Managed to implement this feature across two different repos. And let's take a look at how long our repo has become. So we have the CLOC thing. I have this command to check. Oh, so it's still 22k. Okay. I guess this feature is quite short. And then our SAM prompt library is, oh, actually the SAM prompt library is 4.7k. So if you add them together, it's like 27k lines of code. Yeah. So if you count this as part of the project, then it's actually a much larger project. All right. Yeah, there you have it. Thank you everyone for watching. Does anyone have any questions or comments, or if you like this stream, please send a message. Or if you are shy, don't send a message, just come and support the channel. I do this kind of live streams every Saturday. Sometimes I use Claude Code, sometimes I try out new tools like maybe Codex or Clean or Root Code or anything like that. I try to show how I use these AI coding tools on real-world projects and existing projects especially, because that's something that not many people are showing, and people don't believe that it works on existing projects. So so I guess that's part of the reason why I'm doing this, is to show people how to use it. And there's a lot of tricks you can learn by watching this kind of videos or live streams. Yeah, so thank you everyone for watching again. I will be doing this stream every Saturday, and I do other streams on models or like any other AI topics, how they work, how do you train your own LLM, so like educational explanation kind of video as well. So yeah, be sure to follow the channel. We just hit 200 subscribers. Yes. All right, that's all for today's stream. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you on the next stream.